All right, let's talk some Amari Cooper for a second. A very interesting player. I think Amari Cooper is someone who, basically the Cowboys just gave up on. They didn't want to pay the contract, but I like the move from the Browns to take him on. You're basically paying nothing, and it's a very low-risk move. If he sucks, you can simply get rid of him, or if he's just not worth the contract, you can get rid of him. There's no dead cap if they cut him at any point. But also, I don't think he sucks, and I think he is probably worth the contract, and I think the tape backs that up. For example, something like this. So he's going to have a one-on-one matchup here in the Tampa Bay game. This was week 1, going up against Jamal Dean. And quite frankly, what's the number one thing we think about when talking about a number one receiver? It's, can you get open consistently against man coverage? If you get one-on-one matchups, can you be successful? Because if you're double teamed, well, okay, who's going to get open against double teams? You have to be like a special kind of receiver. But one-on-ones, if you're a number one receiver, you have to be able to win consistency, and watch what's going to happen with Cooper. As you see, Cooper does a very good job of, getting that outside leverage immediately, and at this point, Dean, who's a fast corner, has to turn his back to keep up with Cooper. This is what Cooper can do with his good route running. And again, is Cooper the best wide receiver in football? No. Is Cooper a number one wide receiver? In my opinion, yes, and it's plays like this that is what leads me to believe it is. As you see, Prescott's going to throw it to a spot. Cooper gets to that spot, makes the catch, and gets the touchdown. And again, he can do this stuff pretty consistently. He's not known for his consistency in the NFL, but certainly you give him 100 of these plays over the course of a season, he's going to win on a good chunk of them. I also think on stuff like this, his route running really works well in zone coverage, which is certainly interesting with him being on Cleveland, who, I feel like for Cleveland, they run the ball a lot, so that gets teams to play zone coverage. And also, I think that, for Kevin Stefanski, that scheme kind of prioritizes guys who can run good routes, and Cooper is a guy who can run good routes, and so kind of that's a little bit more important sometimes, is having guys who can be good route runners instead of guys who are just physically talented. The way this play works is it's supposed to be about kind of getting to a gap in coverage, and watch what's going to happen here. So, right when this play begins, you see that Cooper is going to kind of try to get to the outside a little bit, right? Gets the outside leverage. So this way, again, you're trying to make a throwing window for Dak Prescott. That's the goal of a wide receiver, is to give the quarterback a window to try and make the throw, and then catch the ball once he does make the throw. And you see with Cooper, what he's doing a good job of is, while he is on that outside, he's not giving away anything. It's that beginning portion of the route that's so key. It's like in poker, even on the hands that you have that aren't very good, you still don't want to show anything, right? You have to have a poker face throughout, because if you start to show tells of anything, well, then people will pick up on it. So when Cooper does get to the outside, just takes a little bit for the defensive backs to fully realize that there was a break there, and because of that, Cooper was able to, pick up a good gain there. And so those little things that he does to help himself out really work at this level, and they certainly will work in a Kevin Stefanski offense, I think. And also, it can work in man, like what you'll see on this play, where it is going to be man coverage. It's a cover 2 man, so kind of, where Cooper's route is running can definitely get open kind of underneath these safeties a little bit. And again, watch how when this play begins, he's just not giving anything away. Where is he going here? I already told you, so but if you didn't, would you be able to tell? Maybe not. It's difficult, and Tampa Bay certainly hasn't been able to tell. The corner who was on him is currently going to pass him off to a safety if Cooper runs over the middle, but the safety isn't crashing in, because for all he knows, it could be a go route. So when Cooper does cut, it's at that moment that the defensive backs realize, okay, we got to get over there, but it's a bit too late at that point, and Prescott was able to make the throw, and they were able to pick up a decent completion. So again, Cooper will give you a window to make a throw, and Deshaun Watson can make those throws, so it should be a very good pairing, and I think you could argue Watson's the best quarterback Cooper has had to throw the ball to, even though Cooper's had good quarterbacks, Derek Carr and Dak Prescott. I think it's probably fair to say I think Watson is probably better than them. And also, there is stuff like this I should mention as well. It's not like the only way that Cooper ever gets his wins is purely through route running. No, he will get wins by talent as well. Let's not forget, this guy was a very big prospect coming out of the draft, largely because he wasn't just a polished route runner, but also had great physical tools. This play is, again, kind of one of those plays that you say, if you're a true number one receiver, you have to find a way to win. It's man coverage, and it's cover 1 man blitz, actually. So what's happening here is that Cooper has a true one-on-one matchup on the sideline. Maybe the safety will be able to come over and make a play, but maybe not. And watch how Cooper is just going to completely blow by the corner who is covering him there. I mean, that was just, got way past him and was able to, really easily adjust to the ball and make the catch. Again, that's Ross Cockrell, not exactly known for a superstar corner, but he can play. He's a fine player, and again, Cooper is able to just kind of make him look like he's a fringe NFL player. That's what he can do at times. Like, this one's another one where I'm not even going to break down this whole play. I want you to experience this route running. So again, look at those two players. The one in the Cowboys uniform is Amari Cooper. And I mean, look at this, just this great well-ran route, gets wide open, and I guarantee you Watson's going to make that throw because any quarterback is going to make that throw. Again, you could have some issues with Cooper's consistency. How often does he do this? But he does do it, and he will hit on these from time to time. Yeah, he maybe will be invisible for a game or two, but then he'll come up and have a 200-yard game and stuff like that. So as a whole, he is going to certainly be a pretty big benefit to your football team. So yeah, I mean, again, as a whole, I'm of the belief that wide receivers are very important. So if you're, again, everyone thinks that every position is important, but in terms of what positional value is really the most important, I believe wide receivers is number 2 on that list. And for Cleveland, they were a team who, again, I go back to last year when I predicted them to win the Super Bowl. And in hindsight, that sounds very stupid. But when you think about it, it's like, okay, well, I thought that they were going to have like a tier 1 receiving core with Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. And those two guys just didn't work out in Cleveland. Landry worked out until last year, and then Odell never really worked out in Cleveland. Showed some flashes, but never fully worked out. So they needed to get upgrades at that position, given what they had last year. And so getting someone like Amari Cooper, who is, in my opinion, like a number 1 receiver, he is someone who can go out and win one-on-one matchups. I still think they could use another guy in that receiving room, but it's a big first step, and you need someone who can really help Deshaun Watson out and help Kevin Stefanski out, kind of complete that receiving core, or at least, that's the most difficult part, right? Getting the true number 1 guy. It's a lot easier to get number 2 and number 3 wide receivers than it is to get a number 1. And the reality is you didn't have to give up really anything to go out and get him. I mean, they gave up a day 3 pick for a number 1 receiver. And the money, I think, is fine. I mean, the way that I typically view things is you want to spend, for one win, you want to spend $25 million. That's kind of the ratio I go of, $25 million per win. And if that's the ratio you're going with, like, I feel like for Amari Cooper, a top 5 receiving core will get you about 3.5 wins on average. So a little bit under 3.5 wins. So for Amari Cooper, like, he's certainly bumping them up a tier at the very least, which is usually going to be around a win. So that's a good contract. That's not a bad contract. Dallas had some issues, so they kind of had to get rid of some contracts, but don't know if this is the one they had to get rid of. And I certainly don't know why more teams weren't in on this and willing to outbid Cleveland. So again, I've kind of talked about it a little bit already, but I wanted to make a video really breaking down how I feel about Cooper, because I feel like there is some disagreements about how good Cooper is. I think Cooper's good. Cooper's a good player. Like, again, is he Tyreek Hill? No, he's not. That's, why he didn't go for as much as Tyreek Hill. That's why he didn't go for as much as Devontae Adams, but probably should have gone for more than what he ended up going for. That's kind of the way that I view all of this. But what do you guys think? What were your thoughts on this very fascinating trade? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.